What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I thought I would do something a bit self-indulgent, if you couldn't already tell based on the length of the intro track. I wanted to talk about my favorite pedal of all time, and I know it sounds like a bit of a clickbaity thing. I'm sure it's in the title, but I think I mean it this time. I think this might be my favorite pedal of all time. And of course, me being the simple caveman that I am, it's a drive pedal, but it's a unique drive pedal. It's an interesting drive pedal. And, I, like I'm sure many of you are, like to swap things around on my pedal board, change things out. It's always fun to play with new toys, but this is a drive pedal that I've stuck with for a long time, and I don't know why I'm beating around the bush, because you know exactly what it is. So let's just get into it. It is, of course, the Halberd from Electronic Audio Experiments. Now, if you've been around the channel for any amount of time, you know that I am quite the EAE fanboy. I have quite a lot of their pedals. Not all of them, but quite a few of them. And the Halberd is the one for me that I think tops the pile of EAE pedals that I've played anyway. It is such a good drive pedal while also being such a unique and versatile pedal. But of course, at the core of it, it just sounds bloody good. So what is the Halberd? Obviously it's an overdrive, but it's a kind of solid state-esque, transistory, grindy kind of overdrive pedal, but not being super aggressive. It's kind of like it has the harmonic richness and the clarity of a much higher overdrive pedal or distortion pedal, but it sits in more of the mid-gain range. And that's why I love it, because I love clarity, I love pick attack and dynamics in my sound, and this pedal basically does all of them. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about it, wanted to gush about it, and take you through some sounds and some examples. So let's start off with talking about the controls and a little bit how I use the Halberd. So first, you have this post control up here. I don't know if you can be able to see it because it's quiet. So this post control, you can kind of think of that as like your volume, because it doesn't have like standard volume and gain. But yeah, kind of think about this as your overall volume. It does set the kind of overall output of the pedal. Pre is kind of like your overdrive or your gain control. And it has quite an interesting sweep as you turn it up. Gets a lot more compressed the higher up it is, but it still kind of retains a lot of dynamics, especially when set down low, and how it sounds is very determined by this voice switch, which we'll get to. And we have tone, pretty standard tone control, but it has a lot of nice frequencies, can really take out a lot of, or kind of mute a lot of high-end frequencies, or really nicely accentuate them. Then we have possibly the most interesting control on the pedal. This is depth control. Now, the depth control is kind of like a low-end additive pedal. Like it adds low end, but only, or not even adds low end, it like adds distortion, but only to your low frequencies. It's really cool. Like it's not like a bass knob or like a, these aren't like a treble and bass and like a James Baxandall tone stack or something. It adds depth and fullness in a really interesting way, and it can get really kind of like big and overblown if you're not careful. Then we have the voice switch. Now, this in the middle is kind of gives you three different sounds. So in the middle here, without not being up or down, it is like the version 1 of the Halberd. This is, of course, the version 2. So it's just slight mid-push, but fairly kind of not transparent, because this pedal isn't transparent. It does impart its character onto your sound, but in a very kind of, in a way that complements whatever you're doing. Like it adds to your sound without kind of just doing what a transparent pedal is supposed to do, which is just taking your sound and making it more. This kind of does that, but also imparts its own character, which I think is really nice. So in the up position, we have the clang mode. Now, this is like really aggressive clang, obviously being like a noise rock thing. This pedal fits perfectly into that realm. Yeah, so heaps of trebly, really bitey, aggressive, kind of brings to mind Steve Albini, big black shellac, that sort of thing. In the down position, we kind of have the deep mode, which is kind of like, it adds an extra kind of fuzzy, woolly character to the sound of the pedal, and that's really good, especially for bass. But if you just want kind of almost like a doomy, fuzzy sound, you can get that out of this pedal by flicking it down there and then, setting the depth and the tone to taste. And yeah, super versatile set of controls. Now, how do I use this pedal? When I first got it, I actually used it straight in as my kind of, it was always on, as my always on gain sound at the end of my drive chain. But in recent years, I've been using it to boost whatever amp, preamp I've been using. For a while it was the Citadel from EAE, and lately it's been the Mother Pre from Science Amps. And this thing goes into that so well, and it kind of boosts it. But it also works as, your always on thing. I know John from EAE, he uploaded a pedal board rundown for what he was using at the time, and he had a Halberd as his always on sound. I've seen plenty of other people use the Halberd as an end of chain, always on sound type thing, and it does that really well. But I think it's kind of underutilized as a boost or a traditional drive, because it can hit the front of an amp in a really interesting way, and it can even be kind of an alternative based on how you set it, because there's so many different ways, or it can be kind of your main thing and it can set you apart, which is how I use it. I keep it kind of on the middle setting. I kind of boost the tone a little bit, cut the depth just a bit, and then kind of have the pre just a bit below half, post just a bit over half, and that's the way I like to go about things with the Halberd. But it can be used in so many different varieties. So instead of yapping, let's get into it and I'll show you some sounds. So first we're just going to start off with the Halberd going into a clean amp, just so you can hear how the pedal sounds on its own. We're using the we're going to be using the Science Amps Mother Pre set on the first channel, super clean, using my Telecaster. And yeah, we're going to go through a bunch of the sounds and show you, this can be a good clean boost. It can add to your clean sound. It can be a drive on its own. It can be whatever. So let's jump into it. so now that that's done, let's show you, I'm going to show you the context more of how I'm using the Halberd these days, and use it into the front of the mother pre, but on the dirty channel to really tighten things up. So the channel B on the mother, which is like the higher gain channel, sounds really good, but if you want to get that kind of pick attack and that kind of chugginess, you really need to hit it with a boost, and the Halberd does exceptionally well at that, and it turns it from kind of a more of an old school high waddy classic rock thing, which I guess is kind of what the mother does, into this kind of real chug fest, not like genty, but like lots of pick attack, lots of aggression, lots of dynamics. So yeah, going to be using the Halberd again, obviously, into the mother pre on the higher gain channel with my Dunnable DE Cyclops. Alright, so last of all, I wanted to show how the Halberd would work as a kind of, as your end of chain thing, at the end of the chain with a few pedals in front of it, and the Halberd acting as your kind of gain sound. So set the back on the mother pre again, but set really clean. Going to be using my Telecaster Deluxe, and I'll be using a few pedals in front. So in front, we're going to put the JHS Not-A-Clone, just because it's a really kind of, everyone probably has a clone. Everybody kind of knows what a clone does. This is a really faithful recreation. I have had a KTR. This sounds exactly the same. It does that thing. I just find that, the clone is a very kind of neutral, but still good sounding overdrive pedal to get that point across. And then because we're doing noise rock stuff, I thought I would use the No Mask from my boys at Wyong Road Electronics. It's a percolator type thing. We're doing noise rock. I thought, fuck it, let's throw a percolator thing in there. So yeah, these two, Halberd, Telecaster Deluxe, mother pre on the set clean. And of course, I could not forget my friends out there in the bass playing world. I love you 4-string wielding, beer drinking simpletons. Simpleton was mean. Some of the smartest people I've ever met have been bass players. Some of my best friends are bass players. One of my roommates used to play bass in a band with me. There you go. Don't ever fucking call me out. I'm a friend of the bass players. Bass player lives matter. That's fucking inappropriate, isn't it? Can't be making jokes like that. Anyway, I can't forget about the bass players. So, gonna use the Halberd into the bass. Halberd. You use the Halberd with a bass. This is something I've never done before, but I wanted to do it for the intro track, and I thought it was cool. I don't know if it would be like my go-to pedal for bass, but I think it certainly works, and there's some cool sounds to be had in there. So yeah, I'm gonna throw it off to you guys. Let you guys decide. We're gonna be using the Halberd, my Thunderbird Epiphone, and the Mother Pre again. Also with the Science cabs, I've been using them the whole time, using the guitar ones for the guitar stuff, and we're using some of the bass IRs for the bass stuff. Let's go. Alright, so that's it. We're at the end. Like I said, very indulgent video. I wanted to really try and get across how much I love this pedal, and I really do. It has been on my board for so long. It has done so many gigs. It's actually in pretty good condition considering how long it's been on my pedal board. It's gone on tour with me. It's done so many shows. My band was recently in the studio recording some songs. This appeared all over the guitar tracks. Like, it's just such a good pedal. And yeah, I think it is genuinely my favorite pedal of all time. And I don't see that changing at the moment or anytime soon, because I'm a simple man and I like drive pedals. And, you know, I used to be much more of a fuzz guy, but now much more of a funky, interesting overdrive guy. Like the classics too. I'm rambling. Halberd is sick. Buy one if you can. There was that special edition Halberd and Benson Germanium Boost collab that came out that I didn't get because I couldn't afford it, and I'm kicking myself. I don't think there's any left. I want to die because I didn't get it. I want to cry because I didn't get it. I think that's it. Probably done for today. If you enjoyed the video, please do swing us a like, swing us a subscribe if you don't hate me, and if you do hate me, just leave an angry comment. Anything helps and drive the engagement. I don't care. Those tears that I cry into my pillow at night are because of the onions in my room, not because I'm sad. Anyway, that's enough for today. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.